Well, welcome to an absolutely stunning evening in North Devon. We've got about 6 to 8 mile an hour easterly breeze, clear blue sky, perfect conditions for you to learn how to use your power pod, which goes with the Gentle Lady. Now, there is a previous video which I will put in the captions and link below on how to make this and how to actually position it. Now, the golden rule with this, as I've already tried to ingrain into you, switch your transmitter on first, make sure that the throttle is off, then connect the battery to your plane. Always keep your hands and treat this like a loaded gun, because even at slow speeds that can do some damage to your hands. So please, please, please be careful. So remember, transmitter on with the throttle off, and then make sure, and also when you're doing it, make sure you're not leaning over holding the transmitter, which you might accidentally have the transmitter next to you when you're just plugging in, so you can easily get to the controls if you need to. Also, once you've got your power pod fixed like this, right to the front as I've got mine, what you need to do is, I notice with mine that I have to change my battery position slightly, and I end up actually putting a little bit of up trim on mine. So golden rule, when you've got it all ready, don't get hit in the throttle yet. Just do some gentle glides into wind like we did right back at the dead basics. Just some straight glides, so you've got her floating forwards nice and trimmed. When you've done that, come back to me and let's show you how the pod goes. Got our motor mount in place. We're happy that it's retained properly and it's not catching on the wind bands. That's an important one. Now I am literally just standing into wind, and then all I'm going to do is just do a couple of little gentle chucks there, look, just to make sure she's flying. That's beautiful. Right, now then. Now, I know you're itching to give this full bore, and who wouldn't be? But what I want you to do is something very easy. If you've got somebody to launch for you again, that would be absolutely superb. But if not, and if you are, somebody is launching for you, obviously make sure that they still well clear of the propeller. Because remember the old saying in aviation, propellers kill. So, what I want you to do now, the first exercise is we're going to launch this forward, and then gently bring the power up to about halfway, or just under. So let me just show you. Look, so I'm into wind, and all I'm going to do is I'm just going to chuck that like that, and then there you go. It's a little bit bumpy off that. And then that's all you do, is just climb. That little bit of bumpiness, that was, so just climb on half power. You don't need full power. Look, she'll fly around lovely. Just, and then throttle off, and then you've got a glider again. So my advice is climb up nice and high. I'm staying down low because you don't want to go out of eyesight, but my advice is, what you want to do is you want to just fly forwards and fly a lovely big right hand or left hand circuit like I'm doing here, and then I'm just going to bring her back round into wind, and then so we're just going to hold that there like that. Look at the, oh, it don't get any better than that. So that's the first thing to do. I would recommend somebody launches it for you. Now, the things to expect with this is going to be pitch changes. So let me just show you this. I'm just going to launch again. And look also how sensitive the rudder is. So remember, that's what I'm saying. Only climb with half throttle, because look how sensitive the rudder is. Because you've got the pass. So all I'm doing is I'm going forward slowly, slowly, slowly. Reduce the throttle. And then there you go. Now we're trimmed to fly beautifully. And now all I'm going to do at the moment is we're just going to fly round. So that's the thing to be careful of. That's why I only want you taken off just under half throttle, is because the rudder and the elevator, particularly the rudder, becomes a lot more powerful because you've got the prop wash is going over the rudder, and it makes it a lot more sensitive. In fact, some people will even dial down the rudder throws. I've just got to do the ubiquitous flying through the sun. Whether I'll get that on camera or not, I don't know. But right, and it's just a normal. Once you've got it in, it's just a normal glider. Look at this. Now, what you can do is, when you get down to a certain height, you can just slowly add power. And I say again, slowly add power. Don't ram the stick forward, because you're going to get massive pitch changes. So let me just show you this again. Look, I'm launching. That's about, look how twitchy the rudder is. So I'm being very, very gentle. Now look, full power. He's climbing like a demon. You don't want to do that to start off with, because the other thing to remember is, the more battery that you use on that launch aggressively means that your flight time is lessened, because you're not going to be able to use that battery as many launches. So it's always a great balance between, yeah, get a dynamic, scary launch, but you do 2 or 3 of those and your battery's gone flat. Now, exactly the same thing. I'm just off now. Now, let's just say I've got halfway down and I'm thinking to myself, I'm loving this. This is my best life. So all you want to do is, when you want to come round and introduce some more power at this sort of height, just slowly add the power. Look, if I slowly add the power, you don't get those massive pitch changes. Look, she's just climbing. Look, climbing away, lovely. Look at that, absolutely superb. And then slowly reduce the throttle, reduce the throttle. The nose dips a little bit, so just pick up the nose. There you go. And then what we'll be doing in later lessons, I'll be showing you the advantages of not just learning to fly with the electric power unit or flying with the power. The idea is, what we want to do is obviously get some lovely summer thermals. Well, it's October in the UK at the moment, so I don't think we're going to be doing that straight away. But let me just bring this round again. So just remember, start off, you can launch, and I will show you can launch with the power fully on, but things go pear-shaped real quickly if you do that. Now look, so she's just coming in here. Look, I'm just adding some power. Look, also the other nice thing, I've got to be honest with you, if you just gently add power, you're not making shed loads of noise. So you're not going to be annoying people, because when it gets to about that sort of height, people are less likely to hear it. Now I've hit, mine switched off, so my battery has gone. So what happens is, the electronic speed controller has said that is the battery is now gone. So I've got no battery left now. So that what's happened now is, I've now just become a glider. And then we're just going to come round here, and then we're going to bring that into wind. Look at this, look at this, look at this. Ah, don't get any better than that. Normal launch, about half throttle. Then you can slowly add the power. So you can launch with the power on if you want to. But that's why I recommend, if you do, only have about 1/3 of the power. And then, okay, just climb forwards, go fly forwards. The flying forwards gives you plenty of options, and slowly draw the throttle back. So we're now switched off. And then in a later lesson, I'm going to teach how to thermal. So a good thing to practice now is just doing these turns, because what you might find is, this is what we want to practice doing, is practicing these thermal turns. Just bringing them round. And then the other thing to do is, if you're coming down for a landing, this is where you start doing like proper aircraft downwind. Look how fast it is downwind. and then we're flying crosswind, and then we're turning into wind for a landing. So all I'm going to do now, look, is just slowly open the power. I'm only on about quarter at the moment, look. And then just add some more, there you go. And actually flying like this, you'll find that your battery will last longer. You're being a little bit more conservative with the battery. There we go, look. And then slowly bring the power off. Never make massive adjustments with the throttle when you're actually flying. It's bad for your motors, bad for your batteries, it's bad for your plane. If you start getting into pitch trouble, just learn to look after this type of gear. Just slamming them on and slamming them off. That's where you're going to wear things out and get issues. But look at this, just floating around here on a beautiful beautiful autumn evening. So that is literally learning to fly with the power pod for the gentle lady. Just please remember, propellers are dangerous. And just remember, when you come to land at the end of the flight, what you want to be doing is you switch the plane off first, disconnect the battery first off the plane. There she comes, look at that. So switch your plane off first, disconnect the battery from the plane, and then switch your transmitter off. Don't switch your transmitter off before you've disconnected the battery from the plane. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. That was the power pod brings on a whole new dynamic for you with learning to fly. So just remember, transmitter on first, throttle off, connect the plane, be careful of the prop just in case, and then have yourself a little flight plan. So say to yourself, right, I'm going to take off, I'm going to fly forward, so I'm going to go over to the... But it's important to get yourself a flight plan, or think about where you're going to go. Make sure you're flying in a lovely flat field with no power lines or trees again, and you're nowhere near an airfield. Just remember, at the end of the day, disconnect the battery from the plane, then switch your transmitter off. Thanks for watching, and I will see you on the next episode, which is slope soaring.